NFL International Series 2015 underway from Wembley.
The stakes are very high for games in London. We need to make sure that the games are run as seamlessly as possible because every game being played over there counts for the team's run to the playoffs. We find out which teams are going to be participating in the upcoming season, and then we work with those teams starting in early March for advanced trip visits where we go over to London. Either myself or someone from my team will be over there with, in many cases, the team general manager, football operations representatives to go through those details and give them an idea of what their options are.
It's a lot of planning for this trip. It starts as soon as the game is announced in November. You got to make sure you're familiar with the stadium where you're playing. You have to look at the hotels. You got to, pinpoint what you think is best for the team. So you want to look at a practice facility that's similar to what you have at your training facility, just so the players are comfortable when they walk out and practice.
Our primary concern is competitive equity. We want to make sure that those teams going over to play in London are set up to follow their routine as best they can. We need to ensure that they've got what they need to be ready for game day.
It don't matter where we are, overseas, at home, we still play the same way.
It's our longest travel on an airplane. We're in a different country. The culture's a little different, so you want to bring them into a situation where there's the least amount of distractions.
You'll have teams going over to the UK to host a full week of practice leading up to a game with as many as 125 to 150 people, and that's players, coaches, support staff that will be needed throughout the week in order to prepare for game day.
My role is to accommodate their needs, whatever they request, their seat assignments, the meal service, keeping to a time schedule that's convenient for the team.
The nice thing is they come to the facility, they check the players in first thing in the morning, they check their bags, check their passport.
We do the checking for the players and the coaches, and after that we do it for all the administrative staff, media folks, and any people that they're bringing along. We carry approximately 22,000 pounds of equipment. That's 6 full containers.
Equipment, medical supplies, training supplies, video supplies to help us set up the coach's office and be prepared and ready to execute on game day.
Number one is probably the food, the bags of food that the players get when they first get on with the sandwich. They can't even hold them in the galleys. They got to put them in the seats because it's so much food.
Basically, we take off the alcohol and we load lots of Gatorade and lots of water. The amount of food is probably 200% of what we normally carry. The portions are larger. There's a lot of snacks, there's a lot of healthy foods.
In addition to the food, we do bring our own chef over. A chef that works at our facility and does our food.
Some teams have found that ketchup tastes a little bit different in the UK, and therefore they've flown multiple cases of ketchup across the ocean in advance of team arrival to make sure that their players feel comfortable during the week.
We probably bring a couple cartons over. It is a lot of ketchup.
We'll work with the team to help build out an inventory of needs that they'll have for the week of practice. Big pieces are the football equipment. Jerseys, helmets, cleats, the practice dummies, but then the little things like don't forget if you want your players to have alarm clocks, they may not be in the room.
They're not used to the size of players here. Obviously our players are so much bigger than soccer players and rugby players. They can't fit on the stretchers that they have, so the NFL does bring over some stretchers.
We had one team that packed an entire desktop office setup for every single member of their staff. That meant 42 computers, 42 monitors, but it just shows that every team has a different level of what they need to feel comfortable throughout the week. If I've done my work, they're happy. They see it as a bit of a retreat in the middle of the season that helps them reconvene as a group without distractions that can come up in everyday life. And if we do it right, then they're coming back saying this is a great experience and we recommend it for other teams.
I think the philosophy on making sure the trip is successful is you just have to prepare months in advance. You got to dot your I's and cross your T's. It's the NFL. You're preparing for a game and you can't have any distractions. If that all goes well, the trip will go well.
Well, our philosophy is to, live to the passengers' expectations and provide a safe and secure environment. For the players, they arrive energized, in good form, so they can be at their peak during game day.